Hello everyone, and welcome back to this recorder lesson series for beginners. This is video 4 in the series. If you haven't checked out the previous videos in this series, I recommend doing that first. Today we're going to be learning how to read notes on the recorder. So this lesson will be especially helpful for you if you're wanting to learn how to read music, or you're in school, maybe you're a kid in music class and you're working on reading notes. Or this could be useful for you if you just want to brush up on your reading skills. We'll also be learning the song Mary Had a Little Lamb. The most important thing to understand when learning to read music is that it's the written language of music, and it takes a long time to learn. It's not something that really comes quickly for anyone, so if this lesson seems difficult to you, or if it feels like you're doing a lot of mental work and thinking, that's normal. But I promise you all the hard work will pay off because it is very rewarding to learn to read music. Okay, so for the first part of this video, we won't really need our recorders very much. We're just going to be talking about the written language, so follow along with me. So I'm going to go to this website called musictheory.net, and this website is great for teaching the basics of learning how to read music and just music theory stuff in general. I'm going to go here to lessons. I'm already actually there, but I'm going to click on this, the staff, clefs, and ledger lines. So basically, our music is written on these lines called the staff. There are 5 lines here. From the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, like that, okay? And there are 4 spaces in between the lines. So we're looking at the piano here. Obviously, we're not doing piano, but if you do play piano, this could be helpful. But they always use piano in music theory to explain things because it's kind of like the universal instrument. What they're saying here is that notes can be either written on lines or spaces. And so we see these 2 things called clefs, and this is the one we're going to be using for the recorder. It's called the treble clef, or the G clef, because it, at one point in history, apparently looked like a G, maybe a cursive G or something. Treble clef, bass clef. All right, so we can have our notes written on lines or spaces. This note right here is G, and that's the second line up from the bottom, G. And then on the recorder, that would be the G that we know, with 0, 1, 2, and 3 covered. And then A is on the space right above G, right above the line. So the second space up, that would be this. And then we have B here, which would be 0 and 1. And then as the notes go higher and higher up the staff by step like this, we just go to the next letter in the alphabet. So we have A, B, C, D, E, F, G as the notes go higher up by step. So one thing that's kind of confusing is that our musical alphabet is the letters A to G. It doesn't go all the way to Z. So it's confusing here because we start on the letter G, but really the alphabet starts on the letter A. It just so happens that they wrote this in this example starting from the letter G. But basically what happens is once you go through all the letters in the alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, it starts over again. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and they just keep going up higher. So we'd add lines. So the next note would be an A above that. And so anyway, just know that if you go through the alphabet all the way through, you just come out on the other side with a higher version of G or A or whatever. An octave up is what they say. Something that can really help you to understand notes is having like a landmark note. So basically, let's say we have A here, right? We'll call that our landmark note, all right? So if you memorize that the second space up is A, if you don't know what a note is, like you didn't know this one all the way over here was E, you just think through the alphabet, going from space to line to space to line to space. So A, B, C, D, E. All right, so you can use landmark notes to count up through the alphabet, or if the note is down, you'd count backwards through the alphabet. Musicians get really good at going backwards through the alphabet. The next thing we need to talk about are note durations, like how long you hold a note for. So these are our different note durations, the basic ones. This is a whole note. It gets 4 beats. A half note gets 2 beats. It's like that. It's like 2 half notes would equal 1 whole note because the whole note's 4. And if you divided that into 2 equal parts, it'd be 2 beats each. And then we have a quarter note, which gets 1 beat each. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This has 4 total. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we have smaller notes like eighth notes that have these flags like this. and 2 of those equal a quarter note. So anyway, we're not going to go farther down than that because that's all we need to know for now. Something else that's important are musical rests. Musical rests are silence. So when we don't play, or if we don't play for like a beat or 2 or a whole measure, we have to write instructions for that with rests. Here's what they look like. These are our different rests. We have whole rest, half rest, quarter rest, eighth, and 16th. So basically these work exactly the same way the other notes do. So a whole rest right here would get 4 beats of rest, just like a whole note. A half rest would get 2 beats, just like a half note. And this squiggly quarter note rest would be 1 beat, just like the quarter notes. Now here comes the mental part, because we're gonna start trying to figure out what notes are on the staff. So I'm gonna go to exercises here and click on this little exercise note identification, and I already set this up here in the preferences. What we're gonna do is try to figure out what these notes are on the staff. So there are little tricks in figuring out what notes are on the staff. The trick for figuring out lines is a phrase that a lot of music teachers taught in schools back in the day, which is every good boy does fine. Okay, so E, G, B, D, F. And then if there's a note on the spaces or a space like here, you use the word face because it rhymes with space. So the spaces would be F, A, C, E. So this note is on the second space up, and if we say face, F, A, that would be an A. Got it. Okay, now we have a line note, all right? So basically, we just need to look at the note and see if it's on a line or a space, and then use those phrases. Every good boy does fine for the lines, and space, face. So this is on a line, so we're gonna just say, every good boy, boy starts with B. Here's another line. Every good boy does. D. Okay, here's another line. Every good. G. All right, every good boy. Okay, so here is a space note. Face, we say face, F, A, and we keep getting that A. There's another space one, so we'll say face, F, A, C. There we go, another space, F, A. Here's a line, every good boy does. So you probably get the idea by now. We need to figure out what the note is on the staff first before we can play it. So now the next step would be to just play these notes as they come up as like flashcards, basically. Let's try that. All right, so I got my computer off to the side here, and I'm just gonna trigger some notes. All right, so here's our first note. It is a space, F, A, C. So for us, C is like this. Let's go to our next note. Well, I'll tell it, C. Right. Now this is on a line, so we're gonna say every good boy, that's B. Here's our B. All right, let's go to our next note. It's on a line, every good. So here's G. Let's do one more. Line, every good boy. And there you have it. So now we're gonna learn to play the song Mary Had a Little Lamb, but we're gonna use notes to do it. And we need to first figure out what the notes are before we play it. Now you could just do this on the fly and play note by note as we see them on the screen. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna just like write the notes in first, just to make it easier for us to learn and play the whole song. So let's take a look at the music here. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 lines of music, okay? And you could probably figure out this song by ear or just using finger diagrams, like way easier. But the point of this is to learn to read music. All right, so let's go through our notes together. Here's the first one. This is on a line, every good boy. So we're gonna write in B. All right. And then next one's on a space, F, A, face. We align every good G space face F A. Now we're on another line here. Every good boy. And now we get a couple easy ones because these are just repeats, all right? So this would be B and then another B. Okay, one thing to note here is that these are all quarter notes, so they're all getting one count, like B, A, G, A, B, B, B. And then the last thing here is a rest. That's how they show it in music class. All right, let's do the next line, space, F, A. And now we see there are two more A's here, because these are the same thing. And then we have a rest. And then this is on a line, every good boy. Another line, every good boy does. That's a D. Every good boy does. That was a repeat. And then another rest. Okay, now we're on our third line here. Every good boy, space, face, F-A. Line, every good. Space, face, F-A. And now we have another line, every good boy. And now look, there's a repeat, repeat, and repeat. I'm gonna do the last line myself just to make this quicker. Rest, rest, rest. Oh, and actually, this is a wrong note. That should be a G. So this should be a G, not an A. Now let's learn to play this song on the recorder. So the first part we see, it says B, A, G, A. Let's try that. Remember to use a lot of support from your breath and your diaphragm. And then we see B, B, B. Next is A, A, A. And then B, D, D. That's probably the hardest part of the song because we have to play B with 0 and 1 like this, and then switch to D is we put our middle finger down and we take our thumb off. So B, D, D. The next line we're going to play B, A, G, A, just like in the first line. And then 4 Bs. And then A, B, A, G. If this video is helpful for you, please give it a thumbs up. By the way, guys, I say this in every video, but I have my own books for learning to play music. I have one for the recorder called Recorder Jams for Kids, but adults can use it too. Let's do the whole song together slowly. I'll give you 4 counts and then we'll begin. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, here's the fast version. 1, 2, 3, 4.